Guess who's back? Back again. Trump is back. Tell a friend. Guess who's back? 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 Bing 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 ding 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 bing 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 ding 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 ding. I'll create a monster, cause nobody wants to see Biden no more. They want Trump. I'm chopped liver. Well, if you want Trump, this is what I'll give you. A little bit of weed mixed with some hard liquor. Some vodka that'll jumpstart my heart quicker than a shot when I get shot at the hospital by the doctor. When I'm not cooperating, when I'm rocking the table, well, he's operating. You waited this long, now stop debating, cause I'm back, I'm voted red and ovulating. I know that you got a job, Miss Pelosi, but your husband's heart problem's complicating. So the FCC won't let me be, or let me be me, so let me see. They try to shut me down on my Twitter, but it feels so empty without me. So come on, thumb on your lips, that on your lips, and some tits, and get ready, cause this shit's about to get heavy. I just settled all my lawsuits. Fuck you, Nancy! Now, this looks like a job for me, so everybody just follow me, cause we need a little controversy, cause it feels so empty without me. I said, this looks like a job for me, so everybody just follow me, cause we need a little controversy, cause it feels so empty without me.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome in to CobraCast 199. I am your host, Jeremy Prime, Mage of the 199. How's everybody doing tonight? You didn't think I was going to go live, did you? Yet here we are, and we actually have a lot to talk about, so we're going to jump right into it because I don't know how long I'm going to be live, but it doesn't matter because we got a lot to talk about, so let's jump right into it. President Trump, promises made, promises kept. Look at here, Marc Fogle, who was just released after 4 years in a Russian prison, gets emotional as Trump welcomes him back to the United States. Fogle could be heard talking about his 96-year-old mother who had met Trump moments before he was shot in Butler. Trump promised her at the time he would get her son out of Russia if he was elected president. Here we go.
Your mother. It's very difficult to articulate how proud I am of you and how proud I am of what you've done and being back in my country.
So that's awesome. And then we actually have this right here of the two right here. Let's listen to this.
I feel like the luckiest man on earth right now. And I want you to know that I am not a hero in this at all. And President Trump is a hero. These men that came from the diplomatic service are heroes. The senators and representatives that passed legislation in my honor to get me home are the heroes. I am in awe of what they all did. My family has been a force. I think my 95-year-old mother is probably the most dynamic 95-year-old on earth right now. And I am so indebted to so many people. I think I remember a Churchill quote that he said when the RAF was fighting the Luftwaffe. He said that never have so many owed so much to so few. And I put myself, fortunately and unfortunately, into that category. And I said, never has one owed so much to so many. That this superorganism of people that came to my support and the love that I was given sustained me for 3.5 years in a prison, that had me in hospitals for more than 100 days. I was given more than 400 injections in that time. And knowing I had the support of my fellow Pennsylvanians, my family, my friends, it was so overwhelming that it brought me to my knees and it brought me to tears. But it was my energy, it was my being that kept me going that whole time. And I will forever be indebted to President Trump, to Steve over there. What a dynamic man this guy is.
That's true.
This is what it's all about. Leadership matters. It's always mattered, and it now matters more than it's ever mattered before. Leadership matters, and President Trump's leadership is second to none. The fact that this man sat there in Russia for 4 years while the Biden administration did absolutely nothing, yet they sure enough got Brittany Griner out, didn't they? The person that hates America, they had no problem getting Brittany Griner out, giving up, what was the guy's name? The merchant of death, I think, was the weapons dealer that the United States had to give up in the process. I mean, absolutely insane, man.
When I met him, the energy, the can-do attitude just exudes from his body. And when he smiled at me and introduced me, and I got the feel for what has happened, you know, it's not just me, it's everybody. And Secretary Rubio, who met my son a while back, I'm a middle-class school teacher who's now in a dream world.
We're going to show you the Lincoln bedroom. It's a very special place. Appropriate for tonight, I think. Very appropriate.
And thank you all. And I love our country. And I'm so happy to be back here. And I wish I could articulate it better.
You've done beautifully. And he's got a great mother. And when I saw the mother at a rally, she said, if you win, will you get my son out? And I promised. She's 95 years old. And I said, we'll get him out. And we got him out pretty quickly.
She told me that exact words.
That is awesome, man.
What an impression.
And you also did. Yeah. And I'm in awe of what you've done and your team.
It's great to have you back.
Oh,
that is absolutely fantastic to witness that. What a glorious moment. And I'm just so damn happy that President Trump is in office. Leadership is in office. Someone that loves America is back in office. Someone that's not going to put up the bullshit is back in office. And that's what it's all about. So what an inspiring story, to say the least. So let me say hello to everybody. Z Herb says gay. You were talking about just basically probably me in general, not that story, because that story's awesome. Thank you for the 20. Lance Finn with 5 gifted memberships. Thank you, Lance Finn. McCock with 5 gifted memberships. Thank you, McCock. Appreciate that. Retardo says, good Tuesday night's main event episode. Beardo was struggling a little bit. He was struggling a little bit. No doubt about that. Let's see here. We've got Big Old Balls says, dropping in on the deep state in a town near you. Insomniac says, these woke judges need to be removed. Indy I says, not late, but still gay. Spitfire says, with the W's. Longclaw says, thank God for President Trump. How can anyone hate this man? I mean, honestly, it's at the point where if you're actively like, again, I'm not saying you have to just be the biggest supporter of President Trump or the biggest fan or whatever. But if you're actively working against President Trump, and if you're actively like, if you actively are hating on this man and just trying to just, I guess, foam at the mouth at every decision he's made, you're beyond help. You're beyond help. And you should never be taken seriously. It really is unbelievable. Eric K says Biden got that Brittany Griner, that guy Brittany Griner out who actually broke Russian law. He had his priorities, his trans rights. Yep, exactly. Z-Herb says, yes, let's see. The story is awesome. Trump brought straightness back to the stream with his big load of strong leadership. Thank you for the 10. Your Barbie says, I forgot all about that dude Griner. Honestly, we all forgot about that dude Griner. Phil Collis is the most wholesome moment tonight. Love this. That was a hell of a moment right there. Is Gary in the chat? Let's see here. Yeah, nothing like losing your freedom to give you greater appreciation of it. This is the best presidency I've ever seen in just a couple of weeks. Well said from my boy Gary. I was watching Gary stream the other day, his return stream, and he was talking about everything that had happened to him this past couple of weeks, and he's talking about everything. He says, but I'm still going to call Jeremy gay. And like through all this, like serious stuff, he still finds time to call his good old boy, his good old buddy gay. I mean, that's what friendship's all about, right? Like no matter what you're going through, you still got to call your friends gay. We wouldn't have it any other way. So, all right. So today, I don't know how many of you saw this, but today, Elon and Trump in the White House together. I have not seen all of this. This is a 30-minute video. I wish this would have been pre-announced so I could have covered it. And so I've seen some bits and pieces of it that have been uploaded to Twitter, but I haven't seen all of it. But Elon and Trump in the Oval Office together. Absolutely fantastic.
This is X. And he's a great guy, high IQ. He's a high IQ individual.
And he's got this cool chain he's got.
So thank you very much. We had a busy day today. The king just left, and we...
Elon is so happy. Elon is just so happy.
We've had a great discussion, terrific discussion concerning Gaza and everything else. We had discussions also about Saturday at 12 o'clock. It's going to be a big moment. We'll see what happens. I don't expect much happening with these people, but we'll see what happens. And we're going to be signing a very important deal today. It's DOGE, and I'm going to ask Elon to tell you a little bit about it and some of the things that we found, which are shocking. Billions and billions of dollars in waste, fraud, and abuse. And I think it's very important. And that's one of the reasons I got elected. I said, we're going to do that. Nobody had any idea it was that bad, that sick, and that corrupt. And it seems hard to believe that judges want to try and stop us.
That is Elon's kid's name. That's Elon's kid's name is X, little X.
From looking for corruption, especially when we found hundreds of millions of dollars worth, much more than that, in just a short period of time. We want to weed out the corruption. And it seems hard to believe that a judge could say, we don't want you to do that. Well, so maybe we have to look at the judges, because that's a very serious, I think it's a very serious violation. I'll ask Elon Musk to say a few words, and we'll take some questions. Elon, go ahead.
Sure. So at a high level, if you say, what is the goal of DOGE and I think a significant part of the presidency is to restore democracy. This may seem like, well, are we in a democracy? Well, if you don't have a feedback loop, FAX, we'd have to, if you sorry. Tell you, gravitas can be difficult sometimes. If there's not a good feedback.
This is the best fucking timeline ever. He's got his kid. He's got his kid interrupting a speech. These are the two most famous men in the fucking world. And he's got his kid interrupting. How is that not relatable? Anybody who has kids knows that that's exactly how it goes. It's relatable. This is genius. Everybody can relate to that. No one is getting mad. Anybody that's got kids knows, like, oh, you messed up a perfect moment. My kids are out of control. It's fucking perfect.
Feedback loop from the people to the government. And if you have rule of the bureaucrat, or if the bureaucracy is in charge, and then what meaning does democracy actually have? If the people cannot vote and have their will be decided by their elected representatives in the form of the president and the Senate and the House, then we don't live in a democracy. We live in a bureaucracy. So it's incredibly important that we close that feedback loop, we fix that feedback loop, and that the public's elected representatives, the president, the House, and the Senate, decide what happens, as opposed to a large unelected bureaucracy. This is not to say that there are good people who are in the federal bureaucracy, but you can't have an autonomous federal bureaucracy. You have to have one that's responsive to the people. That's the whole point of a democracy. And if you looked at this, if you asked looked at the founders today and said, what do you think of the way things have turned out? Well, we have this unelected, fourth unconstitutional branch of government, which is the bureaucracy, which has, in a lot of ways, currently more power than any elected representative. And this is not something that people want, and it's not. It does not match the will of the people. So it's just something we've got to fix. And then we've also got to address the deficit. So we've got a $2 trillion deficit, and if we don't do something about this deficit, the country's going bankrupt. I mean, it's really astounding that the interest payments alone on the national debt exceed the Defense Department budget, which is shocking because we spend a lot of money on defense. But if that just keeps going, we're essentially going to bankrupt the country. So what I really want to say is, like, it's not optional for us to reduce the federal expenses. It's essential. It's essential for America to remain solvent as a country, and it's essential for America to have the resources necessary to provide things to its citizens and not simply be servicing vast amounts of debt.
And also, could you mention some of the things that your team has found, some of the crazy numbers, including the woman that walked away with about 30 million,
right,
et cetera? Well,
we do find it sort of rather odd that there are quite a few people in the bureaucracy who have ostensibly a salary of a few $100,000, but somehow manage to accrue tens of millions of dollars in net worth while they are in that position, which is, what happened to USAID. We're just curious as to where it came from. Maybe they're very good at investing, in which case we should take their investment advice, perhaps.
Look into Nancy Pelosi. Look at Nancy Pelosi's net worth versus what she makes on a salary. Look at Barack Obama. Look at what Barack Obama's net worth was before he took over as president. Look at his salary as president, and then look at his net worth after becoming president. Now, of course, after you become president, that's obviously going to open up a lot of different business opportunities for you and things like that. Let's see the numbers. How did you go from a community organizer, Barack Obama, to this unbelievably wealthy person? I'd love to know. Just let's see the numbers. How did it happen?
But there seems to be mysteriously they get wealthy. We don't know why. Where does it come from? And I think the reality is that they're getting wealthy at taxpayer expense. That's the honest truth of it. So we're looking at if you look at say Treasury, for example, basic controls that should be in place that are in place in any company. Such as making sure that any given payment has a payment categorization code, that there is a comment field that describes the payment, and that if a payment is on the do not pay list, that you don't actually pay it. None of those things are true currently. So the reason that departments can't pass audits is because the payments don't have a categorization code. It's like just a massive number of blank checks just flying out the building. So you can't reconcile blank checks. You've got comment fields that are also blank, so you don't know why the payment was made. And then we've got this truly absurd, a do not pay list, which can take up to a year for an organization to get on a do not pay list. And this, we're talking about terrorist organizations, we're talking about known fraudsters, known aspects of waste, known things that do not match any congressional appropriation, can take up to a year to get on the list. And even once on the list is not used. It's mind-blowing. So what we're talking about here, we're really just talking about.
He is answering. This man is so smart. He's giving so many fucking details in his answer that the media doesn't even know what to ask as a follow-up because he's giving so many details. It's great.
Adding common sense controls that should be present that haven't been present. So you say, like, well, how could such a thing arise? That seems crazy. When you understand that really everything is geared towards complaint minimization, so then you understand the motivations. So if people receive money, they don't complain, obviously. But if people don't receive money, they do complain. And the fraudsters complain the loudest and the fastest. So then when you understand that, then it makes sense. Oh, that's why everything they approve all the payments at Treasury. Because if you approve all the payments, you don't get complaints. But now we're saying that, no, actually, we are going to complain. If money is spent badly, if your taxpayer dollars are not spent in a sensible and frugal manner, then that's not okay. Your tax dollars need to be spent wisely on things that matter to the people. I mean, these things, like, it's just common sense. It's not draconian or radical. I think it's really just saying, let's look at each of these expenditures and say, is this actually in the best interest of the people? And if it is, it's approved. If it's not, we should think about it. So, there's crazy things like just cursory examination of social.
They usually are like ready to scream. They have nothing. So now he's going to keep talking. This is amazing.
Security, and we've got people in there that are 150 years old. Now, do you know anyone who's 150? I don't. Okay. They should be on the Guinness Book of World Records. They're missing out.
Trump is loving it.
So, that's the case where, like, I think they're probably dead. It's my guess. Or they should be very famous, one of the two. And then there's a whole bunch of Social Security payments where there's no identifying information. Well, like, why is there no identifying information? Obviously, we want to make sure that people who deserve to receive Social Security do receive it. And that they receive it quickly and accurately. Also, another crazy thing. So,
just going.
One of the things is, like, we are trying to sort of right-size the federal bureaucracy, just make sure that this. Obviously, there need to be a lot of people working for the federal government, but not as many as currently. So we're saying, let's if people can retire, with full benefits and everything, that would be good. They can retire, get their retirement payments, everything. And then we were told, this is actually, I think, a great anecdote, because we're told the most number of people that could retire possibly in a month is 10,000. We're like, well, why is that? Well, because all the retirement paperwork is manual on paper. It's manually calculated, then written down on a piece of paper. Then it goes down a mine. And I'm like, what do you mean a mine? Like, yeah, there's a limestone mine where we store all the retirement paperwork. And you look at a picture of this mine. We'll post some pictures afterwards. And this mine looks like something out of the 50s because it was started in 1955. So it looks like it's like a time warp. And then the speed, the limiting factor is the speed at which the mine shaft elevator can move determines how many people can retire from the federal government.
This is amazing.
And the elevator breaks down sometimes, and then nobody can retire. Doesn't that sound crazy? There's like 1,000 people that work on this.
Yeah.
So I think if we take those people and say, like, you know what, instead of working in a mine shaft and carrying manila envelopes to boxes in a mine shaft, you could do practically anything else. And you would add to the goods and services of the United States in a more useful way. So anyway, so I think That's an example. Like at a high level, if you say like, how do we increase prosperity? Is we get people to shift from roles that are low to negative productivity to high productivity roles. And so you increase the total output of goods and services, which means that there's a higher standard of living available for everyone. That's the actual goal. Everyone's very quiet. Nobody was quiet?
Your detractors, Mr. Musk.
I have to what?
Including a lot of Democrats.
I have detractors?
You do, sir.
I don't believe it.
Say that you're orchestrating a hostile takeover of government and doing it in a non-transparent way. What's your response to that criticism?
Well, first of all, you couldn't ask for a stronger mandate from the public. The public voted. We have a majority of the public voting for President Trump. We won the House. We won the Senate. The people voted for major government reform. There should be no doubt about it.
By the way, I love that detractor has basically internet lingo has made it to the White House. Memes are taking over. So detractor, correct me if I'm wrong, chat. Detractor is basically a DSP meme that then has become part of internet lore, correct? And so now because like it's kind of like become this thing now. And now it's right here in the White House. You love it. The fucking internet is taking over, ladies and gentlemen. Internet lingo in the White House.
About that. That was on the campaign. The president spoke about that at every rally. The people voted for major government reform, and that's what people are going to get. They're going to get what they voted for. And a lot of times, people that don't get what they voted for, but in this presidency, they are going to get what they voted for. And that's what democracy is all about.
Mr. Musk, the White House says that you will identify and excuse yourself from any conflicts of interest that you may have.
Look at Elon. He's looking at him, waiting for him to say something. He just keeps shaking his head.
They don't get what they voted for.
I fucking love this
But in this
guy.
presidency, they are going to get what they voted for. And that's what democracy is all about.
Mr. Musk, the White House says that you will identify and excuse yourself from any conflict.
Oh, man. Somebody said the detractor has existed long before the internet. I fucking know that. Oh, my God. I'm talking about the fact that DSP popularized it for internet culture. That's my point. I know the word detractor has existed before the fucking internet, but DSP popularized it and it's become a thing within the internet. And so this DSP's detractors, and I mean, I've even heard it applied to like RIPA now, or RIPA detractors, but it's popularized by internet culture. That's my point.
Conflicts of interest that you may have. Does that mean that you are in effect policing yourself? What are the checks and balances that are in place to ensure that there is accountability and transparency?
Well, we actually are trying to be as transparent as possible. In fact, we post our actions to the DOGE handle on X and to the DOGE website. So all of our actions are maximally transparent. In fact, I don't think there's been, I don't know of a case where an organization has been more transparent than the DOGE organization. So the kind of things we're doing are, I think, very, very simple and basic. They're not, what I mentioned, for example, about Treasury, just making sure that payments that go out, taxpayer money that goes out, is categorized correctly, that the payment is explained, that organizations on the do not pay list, which takes a lot to get there, that actually are not paid, which currently they are paid. These are not individual judgment decisions. These are about simply having sensible checks and balances in the system itself to ensure that taxpayer money is spent well. So it's got nothing to do with, like, say, a contract with some company of mine at all.
But there is a conflict.
Okay, that's really good. Hang on. There's a comment. Where's it at? Right here. Okay, that one made me laugh. Bro, I thought they had Mario Kart in the White House. Your screen threw me off so hard. Trump, we need Mario Kart in the White House. All right? We got to make it happen. That would be amazing. That would be amazing.
Of interest when it comes to you yourself. For instance, you've received billions of dollars in federal contracts. When it comes to the Pentagon, for instance, which the president I know has directed you to look into.
Yeah.
Are you policing yourself in that? Is there any sort of accountability check and balance in place that would provide any transparency for the American people?
Well, all of our actions are fully public. So if you see anything, you say like, wait a second, hey, Elon, that seems like maybe that's, there's a conflict there. It's not like people are going to be shy about saying that. They'll say it immediately.
Including you yourself.
Yes, but transparency is what builds trust, not simply somebody asserting trust. So not somebody saying they're trustworthy, but transparency. So you can see everything that's going on. And then you can see, am I doing something that benefits one of my companies or not? It's totally obvious.
And if we thought that, we would not let him do that segment or look in that area if we thought there was a lack of transparency or a conflict of interest. And we watched that also. He's a big businessman. He's a successful guy. That's why we want him doing this. We don't want an unsuccessful guy doing this. Now, one thing also that Elon hasn't really mentioned are the groups of people that are getting some of these payments. They're ridiculous. And we're talking about billions of dollars that we've already found. We found fraud and abuse. I would say those two words as opposed to the third word that I usually use, but in this case, fraud and abuse. It's abusive because most of these things are virtually made up, or certainly money shouldn't be sent to them. And you know what I'm talking about. It's crazy. So, but we're talking about tens of billions of dollars that we've already found. And now a judge who's an activist judge wants to try and stop us from doing this. Why? Why would they want to do that? I campaigned on this. I campaigned on the fact that I said government is corrupt. Mm-hmm. And it is very corrupt. It's very, very, it's also foolish. As an example, a man has a contract for 3 months and the contract ends, but they keep paying him for the next 20 years, because nobody ends a contract. You got a lot of that. You have a contract that's a 3-month contract. Now, normally, if you're in a small, in all fairness, it's the size of this thing is so big. Yeah. But if you have a contract and you're in a regular business, you end the contract in 3 months. It's a consultant. Here's a contract for 3 months, but it goes on for 20 years. And the guy doesn't say that he got money for 20 years. They don't say it. They just keep getting checks month after month. And you have various things like that. And even much worse than that, actually, much worse. And I guess you call that incompetence, maybe. Yeah. It could be corruption. It could be a deal's made on both sides, where I guess the money he kicks. I think there's a lot of kickback here. I see a lot of kickback here.
There's a lot of kickbacks.
A tremendous kickback, because nobody could be so stupid to give out some of these contracts. Yeah. So he has to get a kickback. So that's what I got elected for, that and borders and military and a lot of things, but this is a big part of it. And I hope that the court system is going to allow us to do what we have to do. We got elected to among other things, find all of this fraud, abuse, all of this horrible stuff going on. And we've already found billions of dollars, not like a little bit, billions, many billions of dollars. And when you get down to it, it's going to be probably close to $1 trillion. It could be close to $1 trillion that we're going to find. That will have quite an impact on the budget. And you'll go to a judge where they handpick a judge and he has certain leanings. I'm not knocking anybody for that, but he has certain leanings. And he wants us to stop looking. How do you stop looking? I mean, we've already found it. We have a case in New York where a hotel has paid $59 million, $59 million because it's housing migrants, illegal migrants.
Insane.
All illegal, I believe.
And they were being paid twice the normal room rate at 100% occupancy.
Unbelievable.
So it's a racket.
Mr. Musk, I'm going to ask a question.
If I may sort of just going for the president's comments, at a high level, okay, well, what are the two ingredients that are really necessary in order to cut the budget deficit in half from 2 trillion to 1 trillion? And it's really two things: competence and caring. And if you add competence and caring, you'll cut the budget deficit in half. And I fully expect to be scrutinized and get a daily proctology exam. basically. Might as well just camp out there. So it's not like I think I can get away with something. I'll be scrutinized nonstop. But with support of the president, we can cut the budget deficit in half from 2 trillion to 1. And then with deregulation, because there's a lot of sort of regulations that don't ultimately serve the public good. We need to free the builders of America to build. And if we do that, that means I think we can get the economic growth to be maybe 3-4%, maybe 5%. And that means if you can get $1 trillion of economic growth and you cut the budget deficit by $1 trillion, between now and next year, there is no inflation. There's no inflation in 26. And if the government is not borrowing as much, it means that interest costs decline. So everyone's, the mortgage, their car payment, their credit card bills, anything, their student debt, the monthly payments drop. That's a fantastic scenario for the average American.
He was picking his nose. Holy shit. I love this shit so much.
Their student debt, the monthly payments drop. That's a fantastic scenario for the average American. I mean, imagine they're going down the grocery aisle and the prices from one year to the next are the same, and their mortgage, all their debt payments dropped. How great is that for the average American?
We had
That's
no
what we're
idea. We had no idea we were going to find this much, and it's open. It's not like complicated. It's
not that
simple
complicated.
stuff. It's
It's
like
a lot of work. Yeah.
we can't believe it. A lot of work. A lot of smart people involved. Very, very smart people. But you're talking about anywhere maybe $500 billion. It's crazy the kind of numbers you're talking
really crazy.
about. You know, normally when you're looking at something, you'll find you're looking for 1 out of 100. Here, you're almost reversing it. You look for one that's good.
Yeah.
And you can look at the title and you say, why are we doing this? Why are we doing that? And the public gets it. You know, the public gets it. You've seen the polls. The public is saying, why are we paying all this money? This for years, this has gone on.
Mr. Musk, President Trump,
Yeah, go ahead. Wait, go ahead.
Senator Rand Paul today said that DOGE cuts will ultimately need a vote in Congress. Do you agree with that? Is that the
I
plan?
really don't know. I know this. We're finding tremendous fraud and tremendous abuse. If I need a vote of Congress to find fraud and abuse, it's fine with me. I think we'll get the vote, although there'll be some people that wouldn't vote. And how could a judge want to hold us back from finding all of this fraud and finding all of this incompetence? Why would that happen? Why would even Congress want to do that? Now, Congress, if we do need a vote, I think we'd get a very easy vote because we have a track record now. We've already found billions of dollars of abuse, incompetence, and corruption. A lot of corruption.
If a judge does block one of your policies, part of your agenda, will you abide by that ruling? Will you comply?
Well, I
with that
always
order?
abide by the courts, and then I'll have to appeal it. But then what he's done is he slowed down the momentum, and it gives crooked people more time to cover up the books. You know, if a person's crooked and they get caught, other people see that, and all of a sudden it becomes harder later on. So, yeah, the answer is I always abide by the courts, always abide by them, and will appeal. But appeals take a long time, and I would hope that a judge, if you go into a judge and you show him, here's a corrupt situation, we have a check to be sent, but we found it to be corrupt. Do you want us to send this corrupt check to a person, or do you want us not to give it and give it back to the taxpayer? I would hope a judge would say, don't send it, give it back to the taxpayer.
Yeah, if I can add to that, what we're finding is that a bunch of the fraud is not even going to Americans. So I think we can all agree that if there's going to be fraud, it should at least go to Americans. But a bunch of the fraud rings that are operating in the United States and taking advantage of the federal government, especially in the entitlements programs, are actually foreign fraud rings. They're operating in other countries and actually exporting money to other countries. We should stop that.
Mr. Musk,
And this is big numbers. We're talking about $100 to $200 billion a year. Serious money.
Mr. Musk, you said on X that an example of the fraud that you have cited was $50 million of condoms was sent to Gaza. But after fact check this, apparently Gaza in Mozambique, and the program was to protect them against HIV. So can you correct the statements? It wasn't sent to Hamas, actually. It was sent to Mozambique, which makes sense why condoms was sent there.
Yeah.
And how can we make sure that all the statements that you said were correct. So we can trust what.
That's what you're worried about? So all the shit that has been found and revealed, you're worried about that. Holy shit.
You say?
Well, first of all, some of the things that I say will be incorrect and should be corrected. So nobody's going to bat 1,000. I mean, we will make mistakes, but we'll act quickly to correct any mistakes. I'm not sure we should be sending $50 million worth of condoms to anywhere, frankly. I'm not sure that's something Americans would be really excited about. And that is really an enormous number of condoms, if you think about it. But if it went to Mozambique instead of Gaza, I'm like, okay, that's not as bad, but still, why are we doing that?
Mr. Musk, can you talk a little bit about how closely you're working with agency heads as you're directing these cuts? Do they have how much input do agency heads have when you're making these decisions?
Yeah, we work closely with the agency heads, so there are sort of checks in place. So it's not just us just going in and doing things willy-nilly. It's in partnership with the agency heads, and I check frequently with the president to make sure that this is what the president wants to have happen. So we talk almost every day, and I double check things to make sure, is this something, Mr. President, you want us to do this? Then we'll do it.
USAID has been one of your main targets. Are you concerned at all that some of the cuts or that shutting that agency altogether may lead to diseases or other bigger problems starting in other countries that then come to the United States?
Up about all of this shit, these stupid questions. These people are completely broken.
Yeah, so that's an interesting example. So that's something where we work closely with the State Department and Secretary Rubio. And we have, for example, turned on funding for Ebola prevention and for HIV prevention.
Left that, you said?
Yes, correct. And we are moving fast, so we will make mistakes, but we'll also fix the mistakes very quickly. So
do you see it as a worthy cause, USAID?
I think that there's some worthy things, but overall, if you say what was the bang for the buck, I would say it was not very good. And there was far too much of what USAID was doing was influencing elections in ways that I think were dubious and do not stand the light of day.
I can just ask a follow-up to the Pentagon contracts. If you have received billions of dollars in contracts from the Pentagon, and the president's directing you to look into the Department of Defense, is that a conflict of interest?
Are going to do at the president's request.
Does that present a conflict of interest for you?
No, because you'd have to look at the individual contract and say, first of all, I'm not the one, filing the contract. It's people at SpaceX or someone who will be putting for the contract. And I'd like to say, if you see any contract where where it was awarded to SpaceX and it wasn't by far the best value for money for the taxpayer, let me know, because every one of them was.
The president said the other day that you might look at treasuries. Could you explain that a little bit? What kind of fraud, and that question goes to both of you, what kind of fraud are you expecting to see or do you see right now in U.S. treasuries?
Yeah, I think you mean the Treasury Department as opposed to Treasury bills or...
You also referenced treasuries on Air Force One the other night.
Go ahead.
Well, as I mentioned earlier, really the first order of business is to make sure we're actually collecting, sorry for this, although my son might enjoy this, but he's sticking his fingers in my ears and stuff. So it's been hard to hear sometimes. Hey, stop that. The stuff we're doing with the Treasury Department is so basic that you can't believe it doesn't exist already. So for example, like I mentioned, just making sure that when a payment goes out, it has to have a payment categorization code. It's like, what type of payment is this? You can't just leave the field blank. Currently, many payments, the field is left blank. And you have to describe what's the payment for, some basic rationalization. That also is left blank. So this is why, the Pentagon, when's the last time the Pentagon passed an audit? I mean, a decade ago, maybe? Ever? Really? And we want to just, in order to actually pass audits, you have to have financial information that allows you to trace the payments. And once in a while, the Treasury has to pause payments if it thinks the payment is going to a fraudulent organization. if a company or organization is on a do not pay list, we should not pay it. I'm sure you would agree. Like if it's quite hard to get on that payment, the do not pay list, it means that this is someone that is just, it's like dead people, terrorists, known fraudsters, that kind of thing. We should not pay them. But currently we do, which is crazy. We should stop that.
Many transactions. And by the way, hundreds, thousands of transactions like that. You know, we have a big team. And for the sake of the country, I hope that the person that's in charge and the other people that report to me that are in charge are allowed to do the right thing, namely make sure everything's honest, legitimate, and competent. But we're looking at just, when you look at USAID, that's one. We're going to look at the military. We're going to look at education. They're much bigger areas. But the USAID is really corrupt. I'll tell you, it's corrupt. It's incompetent, and it's really corrupt. And I can't imagine a judge saying, well, it may be corrupt, but you don't have the right. You got elected to look over the country and to, as we say, make America great again, but you don't have the right to go and look and see whether or not things are right that they're paying or that things are honest that they're paying. And nobody can even believe this. Other people, law professors, they've been saying, how can you take that person's right away? You're supposed to be running the country, but we're not allowed to look at who they're paying it to and what they're paying. We have massive amounts of fraud that we caught. I think we probably caught way over a lot of billions of dollars already in 2 weeks?
Yes.
And it's going to go to numbers that you're not going to believe. And much, as I said, much is incompetence and much is dishonesty. We have to catch it. And the only way we're going to catch it is to look for it. And if a judge is going to say you're not allowed to look for it, that's pretty sad for our country. I don't understand how it could even work.
On the buyout program, can you personally guarantee that?
Which one?
The buyout program, the offer to federal workers. Can you personally guarantee that the workers who opt in to resign now will be paid through
Well,
September?
they'll get their money, but they're getting a good deal. They're getting a big buyout. And what we're trying to do is reduce government. We have too many people. We have office space. It's occupied by 4%. Nobody's showing up to work because they were told not to. And then Biden gave them a 5-year pass, some of them, 48,000 of them, gave them a 5-year pass that for 5 years, you don't have to show up to work. And let me tell you, this is largely, much of this stuff is because of Biden. It's his fault. He allowed this country, what he did on our border. What he did on our border is almost not as bad as what he did with all of these contracts that have come out. It's a very sad day when we look at it. I can't even believe it. But many contracts just extend and they just keep extending, and there was nobody there to correct it. And that cannot be, I can't imagine that could be held up by the court. Any court that would say that the president.
It's amazing. It's amazing how those contracts, nobody's there to stop it. It's amazing how there was nobody to double check all these things. But the moment you don't pay your taxes, son, they'd be on you in a hot minute. But all this other shit, nobody there to take care of it. Fuck you.
President or his representatives, like Secretary of the Treasury, Secretary of State, whatever, doesn't have the right to go over their books and make sure everything's honest. I mean, how can you have a country? You can't have anything that way. You can't have a business that way. You can't have a country that way. Hey, thank you very much, everybody. Thank you. Marc Fogle will be at the White House tonight at about 10 o'clock. If you want to come over, you can say hello to him.
Did you guys get anything in return?
Not much. No, they were very nice. We were treated very nicely by Russia, actually. I hope that's the beginning of a relationship where we can end that war and millions of people can stop being killed. They've lost millions of people. They lost, in terms of soldiers, probably 1.5 million soldiers in a short period of time. We got to stop that war. And I'm interested primarily from the standpoint of death. We're losing all those soldiers. And they're not American soldiers, they're Ukrainian and Russian soldiers. But you're probably talking about 1.5 million. I think we got to bring that one to an end. Okay? Thank you. Thank you very much.
All right, so there we go. So that was awesome. That was just awesome to see Trump and Elon in the Oval Office and just, answering questions. And that's like primetime television, man. I mean, that's just absolutely glorious. So yeah, man, you love to see it. That's great. Mar Millen says, shit, you miss a fucking dollar on your taxes. They're up your ass like you owe them 40 billion. I heard that. And then Mar Millen also says, bitch actually did the actually in real life. Yes, she did. Zenny Biscuit says, let's do time warp again. Where did I leave off here? Got that one. Fantastic Snuck says, Uncle Trump telling little X to be like his dad. Phil Collins says, Trump is more gold than the gold in the back, LOL. Phil Collins says, only Trump did not take the salary, the presidential salary. Absolutely. Kate Banfield says, no shit. Basic internal controls, but if you are a federal employee, the more antiquated the process, the more secure the job is. Manual paperwork, shaking my head. Phil Collins says, this is what happens when you ask someone with autism for details. Talking about Elon Musk. Rude for Thought says, look up Obama's time working on Acorn and the hand he had in the housing collapse. Forrest of the Tree says Barron Trump Musk 2060. Ministry of Wrong Things says not beating President Elon allegations now. Yeah, I mean, who cares? Who cares what the media has to say, though? Storm Shadow says Tom Cruise is Donald Trump. Dustin Hoffman is Elon Musk in Rain Man 2 Rocket to Mars. Flag Ninja says we are in the correct timeline, the best timeline. John Q Ghost, what's up, man? Thank you for becoming a member. Bobo Yogi says, buy your mods cams, 8-hour mod Cherami stream. You guys really want that? Dustin Heaton becomes a new member. Thank you. Jupiter Cyclops says, weaponized autism destroys the deep state. Grand Potato says, Jeremy is competent and caring, you fig. Chad Lane says, be a good steward of government's money. Elon and Trump are the embodiment of this. Skeleton VA. Who's this kid picking his nose next to Elon and Trump? Is that Big Balls? Eric K says, when the people heard the sound of the trumpet, they raised a great shout and the walls fell down. Dizek the Dead says, lonely men, don't protest Gaza. Come to my kingdom. I offer free Palestine. Thank you, Dizek of the Dead. Your Barmy says, him with his kid is freaking awesome. It makes all the criticism so feeble. Dizek of the Dead says, taxpayer condoms are to prevent sexually transmitted Durka. Jake Skywalker says, people can't afford housing, can't afford to raise a family. Government is stealing from us 4 shots and tried to kill our president. And these people are worried about gay Gazan HIV treatment. Exactly, man. It's unbelievable. Barry McCulkiner says, brother, this is an apology. I was railing against you about Donald J. Trump the whole time. I have never been so glad to admit I was wrong. Hail the 199. Hey, look at there, man. Hey, it's all good, brother. I appreciate it. You don't have to apologize, though. As long as you're happy, as long as, again, Trump's the best man for the job, period. There's no better person. There's no better person on earth better suited for this position than Donald Trump. He's the only man that could do it. He's the only man that can put up with all the bullshit that comes along with it. I've known that for a long time, but I appreciate it, man. 12 Cents Ronan says, it's so telling how the media actively tries to disprove the corruption and just ignores the info. Their only goal is to keep offline people in the dark. This is true. Vault 95 says, CobraCast in the gym has been better than music. Hell yeah, let's go. Forsky says, do you think they'll continue to drive a wedge between Elon and Trump, or have they given up? I was waiting for Trump to notice the nose pick. I think that that's clearly what they want. They want to put the wedge in between Trump and Elon. It's not going to work. And I think that they're starting to realize that no matter what they do, no matter what leverage they try, again, and it's all relative. Okay. It's all relative. People in the past have tried to put a wedge in between me and Gary just because of Friday Night Tights and Geeks and Gamers and Nerdrotic, and we're good friends. Never going to happen. People are like, oh, Gary's bigger than Jeremy's channel now. I passed him in subs. And it's people that are trying to create some type of division. It's not going to work. And so obviously on a whole big level, much bigger level than me and Gary will ever be, but You're trying to create like this narrative like, oh, President Elon Musk. Oh, Trump answers to Elon Musk. And that's meant to try to get at Trump's ego. It's not going to affect him. He doesn't care. They're trying, like, evil people are always trying manipulative tactics because they're super, super jealous. They're super, super angry. They're super desperate. It's not going to happen. It's just not going to. So, let's see. Tom McD says Trump is cleaning up government so fast. What will he do after this year? I got a feeling there's going to be a lot of shit that they're going to find. I think we are just looking at the tip of the iceberg. Ministry of Wrong Things says Elon bringing his kid into the office was a genius PR move. He shouldn't have to humanize himself, but this definitely works. Very true. Eddie Ramirez says, we knew a limestone in Boyer, Pennsylvania can be lost in time for the federal government to retire. Vince Barter says, this feels like a dream come true, unreal. Elon spitting absolute bars in the Oval Office. No BS, just straight transparency and facts. SBZ says, watching Reddit up in arms defending the swamp government is fun. Dragon Dan says, any updates on the big announcement you've been teasing? I'm excited for you and your team for what it is. There's a contract that has to be signed. It needed the agreement. How much do I want to say? We want to start it. It's wanting to be started like at the beginning of every month. And because of MegaCon, we got the contract and we had to sign it like to go into effect the very next day. I didn't want to do that because I wanted to make sure that we looked at it. I didn't want to feel rushed into it. So if all clears from our perspective of what we feel comfortable with, it'll start next month. So you'll probably hear about it at the beginning of next month. But yeah, we got it like the day before, like right there at MegaCon. And it was like the first week of the month or whatever. And I was like, we're not signing this yet. There's no way we're signing this yet. We have too much going on, and we're not going to be able to go through our due diligence to make sure that we're, comfortable. So hopefully next month. It's not Rumble Premium. Fuck that. No, the only way you can get on Rumble Premium is to not get on fucking Rumble. Tim Pool proved that point. Again, another proof in the concept of if you want Rumble to pay attention to you, tell Rumble to go fuck themselves. Because if you're actually over there supporting the platform, then they don't really give a shit about you. So no, it's not Rumble Premium. I'll tell you that right now. Because I do the wrong thing when it comes to Rumble. I actually supported the fucking platform. Hey, Rumble, I like what you're doing. I'm going to create a channel, just because I like what you're doing. Hey, man, I'm going to go live. I'm going to go through the stupid fucking 5 steps that I have to go through every time I go live on all of my channels just so I can be live on your platform and promote it. And what do you get in return? Oh, we're signing Dr. Disrespect, who fucking acted like it was the greatest day of his life when he was remonetized on YouTube, even though he already had a Rumble contract. I mean, holy shit, man. Talk about a slap in the face. Like, he's got this big Rumble contract, and when he gets remonetized on YouTube, the dude loses his fucking mind like he just won the Super Bowl. I'm like, didn't you already win the Super Bowl when Rumble signed you? Why are you worried about YouTube monetizing you again if Rumble's so great? So anyway, the point being is that if I ever do get signed from Rumble, it's because I fucking leave their platform completely for like a year. And then they decide, hey, we'll give this guy some money. Fuck Rumble. So there you go. Anyway, Braid Zone says X is a great guy. Yeah, Trump did say that, right? No, I mean, I'm saying fuck Rumble because like that's the way. If I hear me say it, they're like, oh shit, we got to give them money because they don't like us. They don't like us. So now we got to give them money. It's everybody that doesn't. Rumble is the classic, like, you got to treat Rumble, kind of like a woman. You just got to ignore it. Because it's just like a woman. If you actually do treat a woman decent, the woman will just ignore you. But if you treat her like shit, then she comes chasing after you. Because they don't actually want to be treated with respect. You got to fucking treat them like shit. And then suddenly, they suddenly care about you. But if you actually just like nice and respectful, they don't give a fuck about you. That's how Rumble acts to creators. Magoose for 20 sent you a DM that explains the legal strategy Trump's team is taking. Did you send it on Twitter? Okay, I will check that out. Thank you for the $20. I appreciate that. Lying Dog Face Pony Soldier with the gifted membership. Thank you. Appreciate it. There was another thing I wanted to talk about that I had on my bookmarks. Let me see. Yeah, I'm pretty sure I've put it to rest. It's not Rumble Premium. So I can tell you that right now. This one right here. Here we go. Ron DeSantis tonight. Right here. Here we go. Let's listen to Ron DeSantis.
He's unaccountable, Governor. He doesn't have any vetting. There's no vetting of Elon Musk. What is your reaction to his role here and how it's playing out?
Donald Trump ran on Elon Musk. This was something that he promised the voters. So he's just following through. The president's the only one in the executive branch elected. Everyone else is a delegate that he picks to be able to do things. I'll tell you, you mentioned watching this for many years. We've seen the administrative state and this permanent bureaucracy spiral out of control. It seems like it gets worse all the time. What Elon's doing is he is highlighting this in a way that's really resonating with the American people. So 100%. I think this DOGE has a lot of momentum. I think what they're doing has been very positive. I think the key is going to be, is Congress going to wake up from its slumber, start taking the power of the purse seriously, and discipline these bureaucracies. We should not be run by unaccountable bureaucrats. The founders provided the tools to Congress. They just haven't been willing to use it. But I think what Elon's done has been a public service. It's like he's the richest guy in the world. It's not like he needs to be doing this. He's doing pretty good. But I think he really cares about constitutional government, and he's seen it spiral out of control like the rest of us. So, Florida, Laura, we are very lean. We were kind of Doge before Doge was cool. But if we could bring any of that to Washington and Congress can actually enact some of the things that Elon is talking about and the president's talking about, that's going to be a huge win for the American people.
Yeah. He's 100% right. He is 100% right. Marmillan on Rumble says, love Rumble, but I replied to Craig's tweet, you're better off leaving and trying to get them to beg you back. It's insane. And these super chats work 20% of the time for me. Yeah, I mean, that's really my whole thing. Big credit to Tim. I mean, Tim worked the system brilliantly. I've always said Tim's a really good businessman. I guess for me, like, I don't know, man. I like, there's 300 people right now watching us on Rumble. If 300 people want to watch us on Rumble, why shouldn't I just click the button and go live on Rumble? I mean, that's 300 people. I mean, the reason I stopped streaming to Kick and what was the other fucking Odyssey is just there wasn't anybody, like there was like 10 people watching over there, so it really wasn't worth it. But there's 300 people watching on Rumble. So, let them, if that's where they choose to watch, then that's totally cool with me. I just guess that it's just like, it's rewarding people that don't actually care unless you pay them to care, which again is fine. But what about the people that actually were there? And it just feels like YouTube. Rumble's business model feels like YouTube. Whereas Rumble doesn't seem to care about the people that actually care about their platform. They only care about the people that don't care about their platform, which that's fine. If that's how your business model is to not care about the people that have been there, then so be it. But that doesn't mean I don't have to show you respect in return either. I don't have to say nice shit about you. I don't have to say your platform's good. It's actually not that good. I mean, if you all your premium people that are getting paid will tell everybody how great the fucking platform is, but it's not, So, and that's just the truth of the matter. So, if you want me to stop, give me money. And then I'll tell you, no, thanks. I'll just keep working for super chats. Go fuck yourself. You had your chance. What happened with Benny coming on here? Either you're great at what you do and have a strong following. Let's see. Hang on. What happened with Benny coming on here? Either way. I'm sorry. You're great at what you do and have a strong following. Thank you for everything you do. Yeah, I mean, I talk to Benny occasionally. We text back and forth occasionally. He's super busy. And I don't really seek to bring people on this show. I know there's always been like requests for me to bring this person on or that person on. It's just not something I'm interested in doing. if I could get Benny on, if things lined up, it would be cool because it works within the wheelhouse and he's completely dominating this space. But it's just, I don't want this show to be relying upon guests, you know, just like that's why I'll repeat some of the talking points I've said before. I am extremely thankful that I can title this generic CobraCast 199 and it gets the views that it gets. I think that's amazing. I'm not working the algorithm that over here. I've done the same thing with Tuesday night's main event. I did after main event, I did retitle it based on the topics that we talked about, but it's not like I'm chasing stories and I'm not chasing the algorithm. So basically I'm confident that we're going to get, you know, anywhere from 2,000 to 4,000 people watching no matter what I title these streams. And that's a good thing. That's a good feeling to have. I'm not just chasing the algorithm to chase it. So same with guests. I mean, if you bring guests on, if I bring Benny Johnson on, I'm going to get, you know, twice the viewers probably. Are they going to stay? Don't know. I guess some of them will, but what we're doing is working. So I'm not going to mess with it too much. So let's see. Justice says, so Jeremy likes Rumble, but is acting hard to get. Jeremy, you got to suck the YouTube dong harder for that to work. Show them what they're missing. Nah, that's the whole thing. I'm not good at playing that political game. And that's why I'm not good at playing and working the system because, to be honest, I don't want to work the system. I don't like dealing with companies. Just like I said, we have a contract that we're supposed to be signing. I'm not a big fan of that shit, by the way. I'm very old school. I like handshake agreements. I like your word to be your bond. But the bigger everything gets, the more you're getting into that world of bullshit and contracts and legal mumbo jumbo and attorneys and all that shit. And I hate that world. I fucking hate that world. It's words can't describe how much I hate the contract world and the business world and agreements and all of that. I'm very old school where it's like, you have something you're looking to do. I have something I'm looking to do. Let's shake hands and let's try to make it work. If at any point it doesn't work, then we both approach each other like men and say, hey, this isn't working for me. Yeah, it's not really working for me either. All right, man. Sorry. Have a good day. That's the world I like to live in. But that's not the world of business, you know? So it sucks. Vault95 says, notice I don't send Rumble rants anymore. Fuck them. Says Vault95. I do. You've been on YouTube the last few weeks now. Dirk says, joined Timcast like a month ago to check out the Discord, and now I get Rumble Premium included. I'm pretty stoked, actually. I'll probably use it much more. Yeah, so I guess he's got the whole thing like, oh, look at that. John freaking Murdoch with 20. Get the memberships. Let's go. Thank you, John freaking Murdoch. But I guess like the whole thing with Tim is that he's got it tied into his website where Rumble Premium's tied into his website or some shit like that. I think, if I'm not mistaken. I'm not sure. I mean, again, congratulations to him. Echo Base Network Nick says, I prefer solo, Jeremy. It's like old school Geeks and Gamers days. Good to see you at the meetup, bro. It's been a long time since we have hung out. Yes, man, it was awesome seeing you. I do appreciate it. And yes, this is very much old school G&G vibe that we have over here, which is cool. Thank you, man. Good to see you, man. S. Becker says, here's money. Sorry, but as a viewer, I don't give a fuck about your inside streaming drama. Please show the DeSantis video. I did show it. And I don't have streamer drama. I've said this. There's no drama. In order for there to be drama, the other party has to know the person criticizing them exists. Tim Pool has no idea who I am. It's all memes, baby. That's all it is. Dixon Mayes. If you want, Jeremy, you have Jades. There you go. Narrow boat thoughts with Nigel. Tim Pool isn't a big deal, Jeremy. Sure, he had the president on, but I don't think he resonates that well. If he fell off YouTube, he won't be missed. I mean, he's pretty big deal. I would argue he is a pretty big deal. But I appreciate it. Christopher Peak says Trump's DOJ is going to be very busy next year with all things Elon is finding. I agree. F you, Jeremy. I have Rumble stock. Well, I hope you make a lot of money. I hope you make $1 million. Eric K says, you must suck at this and not swallow. You did not get Trump, Don Jr., or even Barron on here. I know. Hydro Coptic, is that how I said that? Show Lunapics and talk about declassification. Lunapics are always something worth showing. I agree with that. Justin says, so you want to do an old-fashioned, the secret handshake, the Dutch rudder. Gotcha. All right, so we do have more to talk about. So let's go over here. Now, this is exclusive content. Exclusive content, ladies and gentlemen, okay? Now, we're often wondering, like, what dangers are lurking out there? What dangers? Well, this is what Elon and Trump are battling against, ladies and gentlemen, right here. Holy crap. Holy crap. I didn't kind of pre-screen this. It's been a couple of shots there that's a little worried. I was like, is this going to show too much? Drunk 3PO says, and with that, I'm out. I might want to pre-screen this one a little bit. Let me pre-screen this one a little more just to make sure there's nothing else. Okay, it got worse. It got worse. It got worse. What? I'm just saying right now, if anybody says wood in my chat, I'm banning you. Okay? I'm just being honest. If anybody says wood in this chat, I'm banning you. And I'm never bringing you back. You will not be missed. We do not want anyone near us that says that. Oh, man, oh, man, oh, man. What in the hell was that? Looking at you going, oh, Mac. I've got a picture of Drunk 3PO's reaction. Okay? This was Drunk 3PO's reaction as soon as I played that video. That was it. Nicholas says, dude, her lifting her head out of the water scared the actual living shit out of me. Let's see. Echo Base Network, Nick says, talk to Mr. H after our stream today. He said all is good in the hood from his end. All good. Hell yeah. Happy to hear that. Graham Potato says swamp. There you go. 8 o'clock says Black Girl Magic. Justice says Drift Wood. John freaking Murdoch. Please, for the love of God, not again. Should I grift it? Should I say unless we get a proper 199, I got to play it again? I mean, might as well, right? I don't know how to negotiate with all these fucking companies with Rumble, but I know how to work at my audience and grift them. All right? So there we go. Let's work that. Since I don't know how to negotiate with all these fucking companies. Burb Shid says, not my proudest. Burb Shid. No. No. You can't say that. Fantastic Not says would. Oh my God. Basket City says Congress needs term limits. God darn it. Valkyria Winter. I heard you say you never mess up anyone's name. Really, Jeremy? Very gay, Jeremy. Love your streams and skull. I have never messed your name up. I mean, it only took me 6 months to learn how to say it. It only took 6 months. Thank you, Valkyria Winter. I can't remember what I called you there for the longest time. Archer Blade says swamp creatures don't care about black people. Yay. Good old Kanye, man. Good old Kanye. Remember when that was the most controversial thing Kanye did? When he says George Bush does not care about black people. That was the most controversial thing that he did. I haven't seen this one yet, but right here. Former New Hampshire governor just completely destroyed Anderson Cooper in a back and forth about Elon Musk and DOGE. Here we go.
It was surreal, but I got to tell you, I know what you're not showing here. Musk gave 7 specific examples off the top of his head of where the corruption and fraud were. I know you didn't play the clips. He was talking about a contractor that had a 3-month contract. He was paid for 20 years. He was talking about welfare benefits that were being paid to someone that was technically 150 years old. He was talking about line items in the treasury that had no justification.
There's no any actual, like he doesn't present any actual evidence.
Well, he's standing there in the Oval Office. Do you expect him to come in with 10,000 pages? And I have to be clear, to complain about this administration about transparency, when this president takes open questions on a daily basis, yet Joe Biden didn't show up for a press conference this 6 months, is insane. Well, these guys are being extremely transparent. They don't have to sit there and take the questions, but they do. It's all on the website. It's all out there.
It's not transparency to say things that have no factual background. I mean, to say we're cutting, we've found $1 billion or $1 trillion in waste with no specifics. That's just talk. That's not transparency.
It's 23 days in here, guys. 23 days. You're talking about 2.3 billion that was saved last year. These guys are saving 2.3 billion a day.
Right, but
it's incredible.
That's what they're saying. But where's the proof?
You're waiting. You're not going to be satisfied till he shows up with 10,000 pages.
But 10,000 pages. He's giving very specific things, but he's not actually giving any evidence of that.
It's all going to come because what they also said was, if we have to go to Congress, we'll go to Congress.
Right, but
we'll show where it is.
Some of the details that have come out, like the $59 million spent on luxury hotels, it's actually not.
Talking about the FEMA money that was abused for migrants. FEMA money for migrants. That's okay now.
No, I'm not saying it's okay. I'm not saying it's okay. Don't put words in my mouth.
So would you stop that? Would you stop that process?
Don't be a dick. The portrayal. What I'm saying is the portrayal.
Oh my goodness. He's so triggered. What a piece of garbage Anderson Cooper is. You got destroyed, and now you're being an emotional woman, and that is fantastic. But we also have more news, ladies and gentlemen. Now, you may have heard me talk about this person a time or two. I'm a very, 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 very big fan of this person's personality. Great personality. Ladies and gentlemen, Anna Paulina Luna. Great personality.
It is with profound honor that I have been entrusted by Speaker Mike Johnson and Chairman James Comer to lead the House Oversight Task Force on Declassification of Federal Secrets. Together with the help of the White House, our intelligence allies, the Department of Defense, the Department of Justice, we will be conducting investigations into the following: the assassinations of JFK, RFK, and Dr. Martin Luther King, unidentified aerial phenomena, also known as UAPs, unidentified submerged objects, also known as USOs, the Epstein client list, the origins of COVID-19, and the 9/11 files. This task force will be a beacon of bipartisanship. On the Republican side, Representatives Burchett, Boebert, Burleson, Crane, Gill, and Mace will be joining me, although I'd like to note that I'm expanding this to the entire governing body and will be allowing certain members to waive on. Our first hearing is set for March. The date will be announced soon, and we've already initiated close to a dozen communications with various agencies, to include Pam Bondi at the Department of Justice and the Secretary of State. This will no longer be a task force that makes bold promises only to fade into irrelevance or send strongly worded letters. This will be a relentless pursuit of truth and transparency, and we will not stop until the American people have the answers they deserve. We will cut through the bureaucracy, challenge the stonewalling, and ensure that the American people finally get the truth that they have been denied for too long. If we are to endure and thrive as a nation, we must restore trust through transparency. The American people must be trusted to think for themselves, to form their own judgments from the truth that they are entitled to know. We've been treated like children for too long and kept in the dark by those we elected to serve us. It is my solemn duty to begin mending this trust, to form a new relationship between the government and the governed. Let us embark on this journey together towards a government that does not serve, but one that enlightens. That does not just serve, but one that enlightens. Trust through transparency, that begins now.
There you go. Now, you might ask, Jeremy, what are her qualifications? What are her qualifications, you might ask? There are her qualifications right there. Okay? So if that's not qualified, I don't know what is. So she seems pretty qualified, if you ask me. Okay? What do you think, chat? Do you think she's qualified? I think she's qualified. So there you go. Does that make up for the Maxine Waters meme? Let's see. Grand Potato says you need to charge $1 million to play that again. Oh, the Maxine Waters thing. Dan, it says hail to DDC and the 199. Thank you. Trista T says would rather serve as a middle for a spit for you and Beardo. So please kill me first. Also need Savvy to investigate investigate Cap on Facebook and APA. Good old Savvy. It was cool. It was cool getting to meet Savvy. Savvy is exactly like the person that you think she is on the internet. That's who Savvy is in real life. That's who she is. She's 100% like authentic. Charles Hart says, what's fapping or fappening maybe? Baba Yogi says, play the swamp thing again. Can Man needs to fap. God. Kyle says, at least they didn't say motorboat. Eric says, I wasn't even here and someone gifted me a membership. So that's how I found out you were live. Wow, really? That's awesome. Hell yeah. Well, thank you guys. We appreciate that. That's pretty cool. Ministry of Wrongthing says Anderson Cooper went full Ant-Man's daughter. Indy Eye says looks exactly like Krista. Luna? You know, Az said that the other day on Twitter. Or was it today? I can't remember. I saw Az was tagged her and said that. Vespian says, Jeremy, don't be a dick. What? Let's see. Many thanks for Luna. The emoji is for you. Chair me. Big old ball says looked like a D&D drench Maxine Waters. Fantastic Mr. Knox says she looks cool. What is that? Qualified. Pretty qualified if you ask me. But that's just my opinion, okay? That's just my opinion. Hey, somebody dropped that Sydney Sweeney picture that you guys dropped earlier on Locals. That was a good picture, too. That was a good picture. If anybody's got that one. That was during Tuesday Night's Main Event. Okay. Seeing a lot of people posting their pictures from the meetup. It was awesome. I can't wait. And if you guys are interested, yes, we will be doing a meetup again next year at MegaCon. So if you're interested, go ahead and start planning for it now. The dates are available March 22nd or March 19th through the 22nd. So it's going to be awesome. I can't wait. And it's going to be bigger and better than it was this year for sure. So just be on the lookout for that. All right. I don't think we're going to be live much longer because I just wanted to catch up on today's news. I will be live earlier in the day tomorrow, probably like 4 or 5 to kind of catch up on a lot of the things going on. And at this point in time, you can pretty much expect CobraCast is going to be live Monday through Friday with the exception of if something pops up. CobraCast will be a 5-day-a-week deal. So, NDI says, let's see, if you're not gay, then ignore this super chat. God damn it, NDI. Bad Brother says, what the fuck? You aren't going anywhere. Is that a threat? Let me see. But yeah, so it's looking like 5 days. 5 days a week. There you go. So, and I'm really happy about that because this show has continued to grow. And I want to make more videos for the main Geeks and Gamers channel as well. So in terms of individual uploads, look out for them to be over there. They'll probably still be over here too. But CobraCast, there's way too much. There's way too much to cover that. So I have to be. And sometimes it's going to be early in the day too. If there's things going on with Trump, maybe earlier in the day, I'll be trying to cover that as well. But yeah, there's just way too much. So bring on Jeremy. Probably not tonight. Probably not tonight. But let's see here where we at. Jeremy sleeps more than Joe Biden. Jeremy games less than Joe Biden. We're gaming tomorrow. We're gaming tomorrow. I don't know what game we're playing. Krista, if she's in the chat, she can answer that. I have no idea. NDI says, wait, 5 days a week. I take it back. You're not gay. Let me see. Let's see. Your Barmy says, AI will write the history of our current timeline. Taker says, catch you later. Bite it, Cobra. Gary. He says, today. John Campia is live getting ready for his first reactions to Captain America 4. I'm actually seeing Captain America this week because I'm covering it for the main Geeks and Gamers channel. We've had some structural changes, not too much, but just like so it frees up me to be more efficient on videos and then covering stuff over here. So there's that. But all right, guys, thank you so much. We really do appreciate it. I hope you have a good night, and we will talk to all of you later. Bye, everyone.